You laughed at something your coworker said. That was the moment. She saw it from across the room, the way your head tilted back, the smile that reached your eyes, and something in her expression shifted. Not anger yet, just a microscopic tightening around her mouth. You didn't notice. You should have. This is what happens when you make a Latina woman jealous. And whether you did it on purpose or by complete accident, you're about to experience something that exists somewhere between a natural disaster and a masterclass in emotional warfare. She doesn't say anything immediately. That's the first surprise. You expected fireworks, confrontation, maybe a scene. Instead, she goes quiet. Not the comfortable silence you're used to, but a silence that has weight and texture. She's still next to you, still physically present, but emotionally she's pulled back 3 feet and built a wall you can't see, but absolutely can feel. You ask if she's okay. Of course she says she's fine. Her tone is perfectly pleasant. Too pleasant. The kind of pleasant that makes your survival instincts start whispering warnings you don't fully understand yet. Here's what's actually happening in that moment. Her mind is running calculations at processor speeds that would make supercomputers jealous. She's reviewing the last 2 hours, identifying every micro-expression you made, every split second your attention drifted, cataloging evidence you didn't know you were creating. According to research, Latin Americans are considered the most emotional people on the planet. That's not stereotype, that's data from a worldwide survey. An emotion in Latin culture isn't something you suppress or manage. It's something you express boldly and completely. Because in many Latin American countries, love isn't whispered, it's sung. So, when jealousy hits, it hits differently. Not harder necessarily, but with an intensity that comes from a culture that values emotional authenticity above almost everything else. You're still trying to figure out what you did wrong. Was it the laugh? The way you leaned in when your coworker was talking? The fact that you didn't immediately introduce her when the conversation started? All of the above? She's not telling you. Not yet. Jealousy itself is fascinating when you break it down. Biologically, it evolved as a protective mechanism, a way to preserve relationships that mattered for survival. The emotional core combines anger, sadness, and surprise all firing simultaneously. Your brain perceives a threat to something valuable and responds accordingly, but culture determines how that response gets expressed. And in her case, expression is an art form. She starts asking questions, casual ones at first. How long have you known this person? Do you work together often? What's their role exactly? Each question sounds innocent in isolation. Together, they're building towards something you can sense but can't quite identify. You answer honestly because you have nothing to hide. That might be your first tactical error, because honesty without awareness of context is just information she's going to use later. The drive home is interesting. She's on her phone more than usual. Not texting you, just scrolling, liking posts, responding to messages from people who suddenly seem very important. You're sitting 2 feet away and she's having entire conversations with everyone except you. This is strategic silence. Not the kind that comes from having nothing to say, but the kind that comes from having too much to say and choosing the exact right moment to say it. Research shows that Latina women are characterized by being honest, bold, and candid with a strong desire to communicate their feelings. So this silence, it's temporary. A storm building pressure before it breaks. You pull into the driveway. She gets out without waiting, walks to the door with purpose, unlocks it, and goes inside. You're following, still confused, still trying to piece together what shifted and when. She's in the kitchen now, putting things away that don't need to be put away, reorganizing the counter with movements that are just slightly too controlled. That's when you realize, this isn't fading. Whatever this is, it's just getting started. You decide to break the silence first. Big mistake. Are you okay? 3 words that sound reasonable, but land like confirmation of guilt. She stops moving, turns, looks at you with an expression that's somehow both completely neutral and absolutely loaded. I'm fine. Those 2 words contain approximately 17 layers of meaning, none of them good. I'm fine means I'm not fine. It means you should know exactly why I'm not fine. It means the fact that you're asking proves you don't understand what you did, which makes it worse. You try again. Did I do something wrong? She laughs, not a happy laugh. The kind that suggests you've just asked the dumbest question in human history. Do you think you did something wrong? Now you're trapped. Say yes, and you're admitting to something you can't even identify. Say no, and you're dismissing her feelings. There's no right answer because this isn't actually a question. It's a test you didn't study for. Here's what's happening beneath the surface. Jealousy stems from insecurity, from the human tendency to compare ourselves to others. When she saw you with that coworker, her brain didn't just process the interaction. It ran comparisons. Physical appearance, intelligence, the ease of your conversation, whether you smiled wider talking to them than you do with her. Every insecurity she's ever had about herself or the relationship just got activated simultaneously. The core of romantic jealousy combines anger at the perceived threat, sadness at potential loss, and surprise that this situation is even happening. Three emotions firing at once, each demanding different responses. And remember, she comes from a culture where expressing emotion isn't just accepted, it's expected. Holding this in goes against everything she was raised to believe about authentic communication. But here's the complexity. Some research shows that certain Latina women handle jealousy by taking their anger out silently, rather than throwing fits. So you're dealing with someone who's culturally programmed to express feelings boldly, but might be choosing strategic silence as the more devastating option. It's psychological warfare dressed up as doing the dishes. You're standing there waiting for her to continue. She doesn't. She's giving you space to figure this out yourself, to demonstrate whether you actually understand her or just think you do. Time for brutal honesty. If you genuinely don't know what triggered this, say that. Not defensively, but with actual curiosity. I can tell something's wrong and I want to understand. Help me see what I'm missing. That's not an admission of guilt. It's an acknowledgement that her feelings are real and matter, even if you don't fully grasp their source yet. If you do know, if somewhere in your gut you recognize that maybe you were a little too friendly, a little too engaged, then own that directly, not with excuses or justifications, just honest recognition. I think I understand. The way I was with them felt different and you noticed. Communication in Latin dating culture combines passion, emotion, and openness. That means the solution isn't less emotion, it's more honesty. She needs to know that you value the relationship enough to protect it, that you're aware of how your actions affect her, that she's not crazy for feeling what she feels. Jealousy evolved to preserve relationships that matter. When she feels jealous, what she's really feeling is fear of loss. Fear that you're drifting, that someone else could offer you something she can't, that the connection you share might not be as solid as she thought. You can let this blow up into a massive fight that accomplishes nothing. Or you can recognize what this moment actually is. It's not her being irrational, it's her caring enough about you to feel threatened by losing you. That's not toxicity, that's investment. The question is whether you're invested enough to handle her emotions with the seriousness they deserve, or whether you're going to dismiss them as overreaction. She's watching you right now, waiting to see which version of you shows up. Choose carefully, because whatever happens next determines whether this becomes a story you laugh about later or a crack that never fully heals. You try to explain, she watches, you apologize, she nods, but something tells you the real conversation hasn't started yet. It's coming though. Tonight, tomorrow, 3 days from now, when you least expect it. Because jealousy in her world isn't a single explosion, it's a process. One that ends only when she decides you've learned what you needed to learn. And trust me, you'll know exactly when that moment arrives. When